only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Catch the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the dream of Medina and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's time to get your meds, listen to us on the go. Updated every week, we never miss a day. Join the squad, come on in. It's time to catch the craze. If you are an independent, catch the craze. Making moves on your own, catch the craze. On your grind in the streets, catch the craze. Join the movement, catch the craze.
Yeah, George, we did it again. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Catch the craze. Welcome to Catch the Craze Podcast. I'm your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man, Vera, and I am with me. So, today, let me just make sure my mic is good. I gotta move the mic. Everything's all right. So today I'm going to have a special guest. His name is Paul Gomez. We're going to be talking about his Kickstarter that's going on right now. He has 18 as of this day. It's Friday, so he's going to have about 14 days to go. He's funded, but we always want to help and push things forward and get people even more funded than before. So we're going to be talking about his book. It's called. Let me get that window going. Boom. There it is, right up in my face. Look at that. Just highlight it, right? Boom. Booshie Boo Circus Mysteries, #1 comic book. Follow 3 young adults coming into their own as they each take apprenticeship in their family circus, all the while solving mysteries. So we're going to be looking at that. Sounds pretty cool. He should be joining us soon. But in the meantime, if you haven't seen it already and checked out the Crazy Channel last, I did an episode on, don't know why I'm so close to the camera. Did an episode on Do You Need a Comic Book Editor as an independent creator, and that's pretty cool. I see my face in the glass behind me. That is spooky. Whoa. That is real spooky. So, that's pretty cool. So, as you know, it's Friday. The campaign for Forbidden is over. We were funded. Thank you so much for everybody out there. So now it's about, we've got to wait about 14 days to get the funds from Kickstarter and Indiegogo. And then once that happens, everything will go to the printers. But, you know, one thing, when one door closes, another one opens. So I want to talk about my little bad boy, my little green boy. Where is it? Here he is. Bang. There it is. There's an alien in my toilet. His name is Duty. He's from the planet Uranus. And we'll be launching Duty in February. So, there's a lot of people out there that know about Duty. But there's a lot more people that don't know about Duty. And so, I'm excited to bring Duty back. So, he had a great start back in 06, 07, 08. And I've had 6 issues of There's an Alien in My Toilet, you know, critically acclaimed, lots of critic reviews, almost signed with Warner Brothers or Disney. You know, there was a lot of interest in the product, was featured on local and national television. So I'm excited to bring it back. You know, when I left comics, it died with me, you know, like everything stopped. So now we're bringing it back full color. We're going to start with issue #1 on Kickstarter, and we're hoping to generate that buzz again. And the reason why I decided to bring it back is because I was at ZoloCon this year, early on this year, and there was such a great reception for the book that I knew I just had to bring him back. So I'm looking forward to sharing this with you. He is my buddy. I've had prototype dolls of Duty. Not sure if I'm going to have one available for the campaign, but we'll see. But we have full trading card sets for the campaign. We have a coloring book. We have the issue. We have variant covers. We have buttons. We'll potentially have t-shirts. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, so this campaign, I really want to push this as far as I can go. So that's why I'm promoting it now. The landing page will be up the day that I get the funds from Kickstarter and Indiegogo. The day the landing page goes up. So in a couple of weeks, so look at December 15th, the landing page will be live. So you can sign up to my newsletter if you're interested in signing up for the landing page, but I'm going to need everybody's help to push this green guy out there. It's fun, all ages comedy. Again, his name is Dudarius. He's from your planet Uranus. His father is the Emperor of Uranus, and the General Goatee. He is tasked with babysitting Duty. Now, Duty thinks he's the smartest, most intellectual being in the universe, but he's really a nuisance to the general, so he sends him on a fool's mission. He thinks it's the ultimate mission. He's on a recon mission to go to Earth and determine if we're a threat to his homeworld, Uranus. So he's arrogant, and he thinks that he's untouchable, right? So and the issue starts off with him. Funny thing happened on my way to Earth, right? So he crash lands on Earth because he forgot to refuel. So, and that's how it starts. And from that point on, he has to survive Earth's simple creatures, from wolves to squirrels to turtles to bears, and and then he gets into a home and he meets up with a Chihuahua named Herman, who thinks that Duty is a talking jalapeno, and it kicks off from there. The government is looking for the crash site, so that they know that an alien ship crashed on Earth, and they're looking for the site, and they want to track down the alien. The father is the butt of jokes because his son swears he saw an alien in the toilet, and so, at the time when the father's having a poker game with his buddies, and now he goes to work and he's the butt of jokes, he has to deal with that. So there's a whole lot of things that happens, and I don't want to give too much away. But issue 1 is the kickoff. It's 24 pages. It's fun. I did all of it. I wrote it. I drew it. But issue 1, I believe George Medina colored it back then, and he lettered it. So. You just can't shake the two of us. You can't shake, Georgie and Sam. It's just crazy. But yeah, so I'm excited for this one. It's going to be in February. Second week in February will be the launch. So I'm going to take December and January off from crowdfunding. Really just promoting the landing page, and December we'll be sending all the books out. So mid-December, the books will get out for Forbidden will go out to the printers. And January, I'll stop packaging them and shipping them. So hopefully you'll get them in January. I did put February, but I'm going to try to get it to you guys as soon as I get it back from the printers. So the reason why I wait to get funded is because I wait till the campaign ends, because some people pull out. They cancel their orders or whatever it is, and in fact, during this Forbidden campaign, I've had quite a bit of people just cancel their pledges. So I wait till the money is there and the bank is done because then it helps me determine how many units I have to print, the supplies I need, all that stuff to be able to send it out to you guys. But yeah, I see our buddy is in the waiting room, so let me put Duty away for a second. And what we're going to do is if you don't know, independents out there, and this is straight up serious to you guys, you have a campaign that's going to be launching next year. You can't afford to hire a third-party organization to run your campaign, and you find that it's difficult to get on as many podcasts as possible or whatever. Sponsor an episode of Catch the Craze. A 30-second video promo will only cost you $10 to $15 for a 30-second spot. We run the promo on the shows. We'll tell you what shows it'll be promoted on ahead of time. We'll have your link. You can get just the video sponsorship or the video and social sponsorship, right? And the video and social sponsorship is, we'll not just put your video on the show, but we'll also post promoting the fact that you were the sponsor of that episode with your link to your campaign, giving you the credit for being the sponsor of the show when we're promoting that show, that episode. So that goes on Twitter, YouTube, Tumblr, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. Wherever we promote is wherever we will promote you and highlight you. But enough about me. This is how it works. Check it out.
Do you have a Kickstarter campaign and you're trying to figure out how to get the word out? You're look online and you see the competition is fierce. Comic-Cons are slowly coming back, but in the meantime, how do you spread the word? You worked for hours creating your campaign. You post on as many social media sites as possible, trying to get the word out to no avail. Well, look no further. Why not sponsor an episode of Catch the Craze podcast, the fastest growing indie podcast in the market today? That 30-second promo can get you an extra 2 to 3 backers or more. Who knows? Let's go. Hit the link below and get one step closer to a successful campaign.
All right, we're going to bring in our guest, Mr. Paul Gomez.
Hello.
Hello there.
How are you doing today?
Good, yourself?
You're really good. Thank you.
All right, cool. So we're just using audio for you today?
Oh, can you not see it?
No, I can't see you.
Uh-oh. Man, I just tested it a second ago, too. What happened? Oh, man.
There you go.
There we go.
There you go.
I was about to say, I just tested it a second ago. I was like, am I in the middle? I'm in the middle. And I was like, oh.
No problem. Welcome to Catch the Craze.
Thank you.
Yeah,
big fan.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're excited to talk to you about your crowdfunding campaign. But before we even talk about that, we want to talk to you about you. So George is on holiday in California, so he's not with us tonight.
Right.
So, but yes, who is Paul Gomez?
Oh, I mean, I'm just a simple guy. I mean, I was affected by the pandemic just like everybody else, maybe a little bit harder.
Right.
I lost my job and, I got laid off with about 50 other people. And whenever I lost my job, I had been at it for about 15 years and I didn't know what I was going to do.
Right.
We were all stuck in the house. A lot of bad things started happening, including one of my sons got COVID, collapsed lung. My daughter started cutting herself. I had one kid got diagnosed with diabetes at the same time. And then I had my youngest get diagnosed with autism. In the middle of all this crazy and madness, man, I wanted to keep something positive and uplifting. So I decided to get everybody together and make a comic book, make a story, really.
Right.
And I was introducing my 2 teenagers because I got twins and they were 13, 12, 13 at the time. And I was introducing them into comics to keep their spirits up. And when we were making this story, I was like, why not make it a comic?
Right.
And, I'm just a simple person, a family man, got hit with a bunch of stuff. And in the middle of all of it, comics came through.
So how did you muster the strength to be able to find lights in a dark time for you?
Well, I mean, it really was my kids. When I was looking at them and everybody was, stuck out of school or not really going anywhere and couldn't leave the house, I was like, we got to do something to be positive and to be more there for each other. Because like I said, my oldest had caught COVID, and that was one of the main things that happened right after I lost my job.
Right.
And he was all depressed, worried about getting everybody else sick. And I was like, look, we need to stay calm, confident, and reassured that we're going to get through this.
Right.
And, I told him, I was like, we need to take care of you. We need to take care of everybody else. And that doesn't mean just eating and breathing, but also finding a reason to get to that next day. And that's how, like I said, it all began with all these bad things. And I hate to say anything starts with bad things, but a lot of things do.
Right. Well, it all depends on your perspective, because I think what happens is, when everything is cyclical, right? So it's like peaks and valleys. So, when those boulders start coming down from the mountain, they all come. Right.
They do.
Right.
They
So
really
it's
do.
like I always say, whenever you're at you're at the peak, prepare for the dip, because it comes and goes in cycles. But it takes a specific mindset to be able to try to find that purpose that you just said, the reason
Right.
to move forward, and that's a lot of integrity. But then that goes back to your upbringing. So where did you grow up? What was your upbringing like?
Well, I was born and raised in Fort Worth, Texas. I didn't know if you knew. You're right there in my backyard, and I was like, I didn't realize how close you were. But I was born and raised right here in Fort Worth, Texas, and it was always just, moving forward, doing things that excite me. I always had me a bucket list whenever I was younger, and I always just kind of hit those things. And my bucket list is like small nowadays.
Right.
So it was like whenever, I had gotten married and had kids, and I was like, this is what I want my life to be. Whenever the pandemic hit, it was like, you got to find something else. And I had to find something else to add to that bucket list. But I mean, I was born and raised here. My father was an entrepreneur. He did videos and photography and taught me all that stuff. So it was like, whenever I did get laid off, I was like, why can't I do something on my own as well?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Because I experienced the same thing. My company went belly up, and next thing you know, I'm like, wait, I've been working since I was 12 years old. Now what? Right. So it's a very discouraging and scary situation to be in.
Yeah. Oh, especially looking for a job in the pandemic. I mean, it was like I had to get used to video conferences, interviews after interviews. Instead of just like one interview, you're hired. It was like, well, let's do this Zoom and then come back and call again. And I went to like 30 or 40 Zoom interviews after I got laid off. And I was like, they really didn't seem to want to bring people in.
Right.
So I had to think outside the box. And whenever we were doing the story, it was like, I had seen other people making a few dollars out of comics. I was like, we could do this. I mean, if I sit down, make a plan, start investing and putting myself into it, because that was one of the main things. I was a huge comic book fan. So it was like, I had to study it.
Right.
I had to go get me an editor, and I had to study script writing. I had no clue. Like I got to write a script. Can't I just write the story out? I got an idea. Let's just go with it. And that's how a lot of people think.
Yeah.
So I got an editor, and he started telling me the XYZs of things. And for days, weeks, months, I studied. And like I said, I'm a big fan. One of the things that I did was I had YouTube on all the time. While I was studying stuff, I had like your show and a few other shows in the background telling me what they were doing to do things. So while I was studying page turns, establishing shots, I was learning all that stuff and listening at the same time. And I was like, if I'm going to make a comic book, I'm going to make it work. If you spend a penny, it was worth it.
Yes.
Because, I mean, the thing I always hated as a fan was buying a comic book and being let down and it being a filler story or one of those X-Men baseball stories.
Yeah.
And I was like, what does that have to do with the story arc?
Right.
But,
So you said you're a big fan of comics. What was the first book you've ever read?
Well, I don't know what the first one I read was, but the first one that changed my life was an X-Men annual. And I remember and fell in love with the character Bishop.
Oh, nice.
So he was my first favorite character for years. And don't get me wrong, because I love a lot of characters. Cyclops is one of my favorites as well. And the X-Men, just that group, being misunderstood, being just fighting for their place in the world. I had crossed, Spider-Man and Batman and Superman. And whenever I picked up that annual, that's whenever it really, it was one of Bishop's first comics. I had to go get like everything he was in, and I had to, read it over and over. And at that time I started trading with my friends. I had a friend who was in love with Spider-Man, so I got to read all his stuff. And then I had a friend who was in love with miscellaneous stuff. Like he loves Nick Fury, Sergeant Fury, and all that other stuff, and like Dark Horse. So I got to read all that stuff, but mine was X-Men. Yeah, Forge and Storm, Cyclops and Jean. I mean, it was.
So,
That's what it was.
considering that, what do you think about that Disney plan to bring back the original cartoon?
Man, I love it. I mean, I love the cartoon. It was, to me, it's great.
Yeah.
Whenever they did that second version of it, I was like, this is, to me, that first version was the best.
Yes. I agree.
So them bringing it back, man, I'm all I'm waiting for them in the MCU. Oh, I can't wait.
Yes. So, so outside of comics, do you read anything else? Are there any writers out there that inspire you, or is it specifically comics?
Well, now I do suffer from dyslexia, so it's hard for me to pick up like a 300-page book. I've always loved reading, and I always loved challenging myself. One day whenever I was before I went into college, I picked up an Anne Rice book because I wanted to read Interview with the Vampire. It took so long. I mean, it literally took me a month, spending like 4 or 5 hours a day to actually get finished with it, and I was determined. But the first book that I ever really read from first to beginning to end was a Charles Dickens, and it was Great Expectations, and I loved it. I loved him and Edgar Allan Poe, and anything that I could get through, I tried to.
Right.
Sir Arthur Doyle, and Sherlock Holmes, and there's only a handful of books that I really could get through.
Right.
But man, I loved reading comic books. It was really my escape because I couldn't get through those bigger books.
Right. What works for me is when I'm working, I listen to a lot of Sherlock Holmes audiobooks on YouTube. Yeah, that's why I love YouTube, because all the audiobooks are there. And so I'll play it in the background if I'm drawing or whatever. And it helps, because, there's only so much you can bring in. And my wife suffers from dyslexia as well. So she has the same issue. So what we'll do is I'll read in bed. And so I'll read a chapter and we'll do things like that. So you wanted to approach comics. What was the first idea you had? What was the first story you had?
Oh man. So I was talking to an artist friend of mine, and I told him, I was like, I've got a file on my computer that has about 60 ideas. And the first one, and the one that I really fell in love with, it was a bank heist. And it's so unique because the person inside who's actually holding up the bank suffers from mental disorder, and he's got all these personalities, and you think that there's like an army holding up the bank, but it's just him. And that was my first story that I really put on paper. And I didn't really think that I didn't make that a comic because I didn't feel like that would connect with the audience. To me, I loved it. But, there's some things that you write down and you say, those are mine.
Right.
And then there's some things that you write down and say that those are everybody's.
Right.
So whenever I did Booshie Boo, I was like, me and the kids actually came up with that. And whenever we did, I was like, people can connect to this. This group of characters, this wasn't like a one character, like a Wolverine, just a Wolverine. It was like a group, like an X-Men kind of group. So if you didn't connect with the Ringmaster Lance, or you didn't connect with his younger brother Luke, then maybe you connected with Zahara, or all of these other characters that are coming in around them, like their parents, or Dulé, who's this janitor who looks over these guys. So it was more of a broader based story. But the one that I first started, it was this bank heist. I never named it, and I've got it written down, and one day I'm going to get back to it. But
right.
Yeah, it's just so many of them.
So since you mentioned it, where did the name Booshie Boo come from?
That's pretty interesting, actually. So we were in this one room, the biggest room in the house, and we sat in a circle, and we were throwing down ideas. And like I said, I've got this notebook full of them, including this cat who kills other people and this giant raccoon that turns into a Godzilla type creature. But when we were doing Booshie Boo, we first decided to make it a circus background because my kids wanted to do like a Harry Potter or a Buffy the Vampire kind of thing. And when we were trying to think of names for the circus background, my youngest son, who is 5 now, and he was about 4, just turning 4 at that time, he used to run around and go, Booshie, Booshie, boom. And he would like run head first into people. So we thought, why not make a character in this circus who got shot out of cannons and would, as a trademark, Booshie, Booshie, boom.
Right.
And it just gravitated. Why not make that the lead of the circus before the kids come into play named Booshie, and his circus Booshie Boo, and his main catchphrase Booshie Booshie Boom.
There you go. I love the fact that you're using the family. And I think that's a great way of I mean, you're providing values to your kids, learning how to work with others, collaborate, respect other people's ideas, all those things, So how do you deal with, say, selecting one of your kids' ideas over the other? So how do you handle that? Because I know that everyone's like, well, I want to, why did you pick my idea? So how do you handle those circumstances?
Well, there wasn't ever that much argument. It was more like, hey, let's figure that, like the name is Zahara. She was actually the oldest twins, because my boys are twins, his friend. And he was like, let's name her Zahara. It's a unique name. And so we kind of got along with it. I don't think we really had many arguments, many discussions. I think the biggest thing was the background. I mean, because like I said, they did want to do a magic background and like vampires and stuff. And at one point I was like, look, we can do that. But how many times do you see magic as a background? Sabrina the Teenage Witch, you got Harry Potter, you got so many magic backgrounds. And I explained to them, I was like, how many vampire backgrounds are there? I mean, hundreds, if not thousands. I think they talk it out whenever we have problems and just come to an understanding.
Right. And I think that's a great way to prepare them for the real world.
Yeah.
Right? Because not every idea is a great idea or is going to rise to the surface.
Right.
Sometimes you're going to be singing in a collective, and you have to understand that, hey, they didn't pick my idea this time, but you know what? Let me help them make this, since I'm part of the team, let me do my part. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like the cat idea that kind of went around killing people, that was one of my kids' ideas. And I wrote that story. But to me, I was more of a graphic novel. And I explained to him, I was like, to pay somebody to do this many pages is a little bit out of our price range. Because that one, we were looking at 60 to 70 pages, where this one was 30. And I was like, this is the price range that we're aiming at. So we put that on the back burner. One of the things that we also did, and I told him, I was like, if I'm going to start this seriously, I need to build a library. So I'm going to pick about, so don't feel bad if your story held off for a little while. Right. I had to pause Booshie Boo because I lost your artist from time to time. And I got my first book, which was PTSD, that got fully funded and fully fulfilled just the matter of 2 months ago. The last book got sent out about a week and a half ago. So it was like, that was my idea.
Right.
And the reason for that was, they were helping me work on Booshie Boo while I could continue that while they were in school and whatnot.
Right. Nice. Yeah, so speaking of that, PTSD, before we go into Booshie Boo, where did that idea come from, and why did you want that to be your launch pad, your platform title?
Well, I got to admit, I didn't want this to be my first book. I wanted it to be my second. I wanted Booshie Boo to be my first because I felt it was more of a crowd builder,
Right.
something that everybody liked and could see that sparkle and brightness of the colors. PTSD was a work.
I think I lost you. Uh-oh. Yeah, I can't. You're frozen. If you can hear me. So while we're trying to figure out his connection issues, I'm just scrolling on PTSD, which was fully funded. The colors and the art look great. I like that cover. Like that cover is sweet. So yeah, something's going on with his. Oh, we lost him. Maybe he's gonna come back. Let's see. So let me get this out my face. There it is. All right, so that's PTSD. The art looks great. I can see where it was funded. It looks really good. Okay. So let's go back to Booshie Boo. Circus Mysteries. Oh, Circus Mysteries comic number 1, which is on Kickstarter right now. It's got well, as of this recording is 18 days, but as of Friday it'll probably be 14 days. 22 backers so far. I know we can do better than 22 backers, but the goal was $800. He's already raised 13. Waiting for him to come up. So it's a 32-page comic book, a story-based set of tales of mystery, suspense, and intrigue. Follow the adventures of 20-something, 320-something as they go through apprenticeship in a world-famous circus. Also, as the drama of them growing up and the stories that they have experienced. Is there a trailer for this? Let's see. I'm not sure if you can hear the trailer. Let's see. Function. I like the music. So I'm not. Oh, so sorry. I like the music. I'm not sure if he needs another link. I'm going to send it to him again just in case. Invite. I hate when that happens. It always goes in my face. This is what happens. But let me see. Copy invite link. Let me send it to him again just in case. Let's get that email going. Alright, so Gomez, let me send it to him again. Reply. Alright, send that. Oh, this doesn't happen before. But what are you gonna do? So while we're waiting on Mr. Gomez to come back, let's go over the tiers of this campaign. So basically, for $2, you can support the creative project. That's just as a support. For $4, you can get a digital PDF of the book. For $6, you get the digital plus PDF edition with extras. Oh, that's a good idea. I like that. The plus. For $8, you get cover A by William Russell. Let's see. For $10, you get cover B by Dudes. Cover B Dudes by Ken R. Salinas. And let's see. There's a lot of covers. Cover C, Star Wars homage cover. Oh, I need to see that. That's probably the one that I liked. Cover D, a silhouette, Matthew Brown, and the homage cover was done by DJ Hall. Cover F by Jeremy Parker. Cover E by Ariel Diaz. And all 7 trade dress covers, A through F plus blank, $60. And for $75, retail special 20 copies plus extras. Wow. That's nice. That's better than my retail. And he's got one retailer that picked that up. Nice. He's got a pledge $80 or more. Get the quantity 5 foil cover package, A, C, and F. A and C through F. C, D, E, F. Nice. All foil. Well, he's got a whole lot of tiers. Man, they just keep going. But let's see. Booshie Boo, Circus Mysteries, creative team. Paul Gomez is the writer and the creator. Coming off the successful campaign of PTSD-assisted co-writing, editing upcoming books, Tale of the Four and Fury, upcoming work, Mindbender Prelude. And then along with Brian Azcura, pencils and inks, Gabrielle Roden, colorist, McLean McGuire, letters and designs, and cover art provided by William Russell, DJ Hall, Ken Salinas, Ariel Diaz, and Matthew Brown. I'm not sure what's going on with our buddy. Let's see, guests. Let's go inbox. Other. All right. Not sure what's happening, but yeah, check out this campaign. We're gonna give it another few minutes if a buddy doesn't show up. Check out this campaign. So here's a bunch of covers right here. Let's see. Oh, I see the Star Wars homage cover. There you go. It's right there. Boom. Which is right here. Nice. He commissioned a lot of talented artists, which is pretty cool. So let's see. Let's go down. So here's cover by William Russell. Really cool cover. Then you have Ken Salinas. I like this. I like that doll. The Star Wars cover is cool. I like the Matthew Brown cover. It's pretty cool. Ariel Diaz is dope. I think it should have been colored, but that's dope. Cover E, colors coming soon. All right, so the colors are coming. All right. I really like this one, the Jeremy Parker one. That's pretty cool. Yeah. And then the Jeremy Parker original art of cover F. Sold. Nice. Sold out. Good for you. Oh, selling full page ads as well. That's nice. I didn't even see that. Let's see. All right, cool. All right, so he's back. Let's bring him back into the room. Let's get this out of the way. There you go. What happened? We lost you.
Sorry about that.
It's all right. So as you vanished, I was going over your tiers for your campaign. So what made you? So let's talk about the campaign as a whole.
Sure.
What made you decide that you wanted to have multiple variant covers?
That really was. I felt out the audience and I felt out the community. I talked to a lot of people who were buying comics because I had been out of it for a few years. And whenever I came back, one of the main things was my kids were seeing some variant covers and I wasn't used to it that much.
Right.
You know, I still bought comics, but I really didn't pay attention to the slabs and the variant covers because whenever I was really into it, there really wasn't around that much. So whenever my kids were asking me, well, why can't I get this cover? And I started realizing, well, those were variants that are 1 in 10s or 1 in 50s and stuff. I started looking into it, and this was right around the time I decided to start making the comic. And a lot of the customers, a lot of the people that I was talking to were saying how much they love variants. I was never a big fan of it,
Right.
but I mean, you know, you got to give your customers what they want.
Yeah. So, how did you source all these different talented artists? Where did you look?
Oh, wow. So, one of the first things I did was I got an editor. And whenever I got an editor, I started looking around for artists. I went to a lot of the comic shops around my area. I'm fortunate enough to be in DFW, which has literally about 28 comic shops out there. So I was like, one of these comic shops is bound to know somebody. I luckily came across Pastime Comics and Chris Hayes, who works with Charter Comics, and he knew an assortment of artists. So he started getting me in touch with a few people. I went to my first Comic Con and started talking to people and just started reaching out, started networking. And by the time I knew it, I kind of had a Rolodex of artists. And with the success of PTSD, I had a few artists actually approach me, and I was just so grateful and blessed that I got the beautiful covers for that book right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I thought it was interesting because I just did a segment on the Crazy Nintendo Less about do you need a comic book editor, right? And you decided so you decided to go with an editor. Tell us why.
Well, the first reason I decided to pick an editor, especially first, was my dyslexia. Because I was like, if I'm going to write a comic book, I definitely don't want it to be bad. I mean, I don't want it to be weak. Like I say, if I want to sell something and I want it to be worth every penny.
Right.
So I know that my weakness is, double checking and looking at these letters constantly and having them move around on me. So I reached out to a few editors and started interviewing them. And I knew that I wasn't exactly proficient in comics. I know my strengths and weaknesses. And whenever it comes to, I started looking into paneling, page turns, establishing shots, all the main building blocks. I wasn't used to this. I mean, who was I going to ask? I figured the editor's going to be your best friend.
Right.
They're going to be able to step away from that creation that you got, your baby, your child, and tell you, this is what's wrong. Right. This is how you need to fix it. And this is what to do it.
Right.
And I got in touch with Chris Stevens. He is an Eisner Award-winning editor. I got lucky that he spent so much time giving me examples of scripts, telling me exactly what to look for, how to study, what books to read on the subject, and it just went from there.
Nice. I thought it was very smart of you. So walk us through Booshie Boo, and what can people expect from the series?
I always say that Booshie Boo is a mix between Scooby-Doo and Criminal Minds. If you like mysteries, if you like the story that's kind of intertwining with a little bit of murder and mystery, that's exactly what it is. Whenever I started writing it, I wanted to draw from The Walking Dead. So whenever I say that I built the characters where it's not guaranteed that anyone survives,
right,
that's what I mean. But I also wanted to build the structure of the characters kind of like Dawson's Creek, where they intertwined and they were learning and they were growing up in the sense of, hey, these are apprentices. And, they're young adults. They're going to not only romantically involved with each other, but also fighting and understanding the world around them's not exactly the safest place. Again, whenever you look into Walking Dead, they said that the biggest evil wasn't the zombies, it was the people.
Yeah.
And that's what you need. That's what you get whenever you buy Booshie Boo. A world of mystery, beautiful colors, and a story that's intertwining, that's going to grasp you. I didn't want to make the same comic book that everybody else makes, and I know everybody says that. So the first thing I did was step away from superheroes and say, what can I do to get that reader involved? And the characters, there's a sample on the Kickstarter. There's a sample of the first 6 to 8 pages. Just for those, and tell me that you're not going to get involved with those characters right there.
Right. So, who's your favorite character?
Like overall, or in this book?
In this book.
Tigers. There's twin tigers, and they are beautiful.
Was that influenced by your twins, or?
No, actually, it was kind of my wife. She loved white tigers. We've been going through a divorce, but when we were together, she loved tigers. I took her to the tiger park in Oklahoma before it went crazy. But I mean, white tigers, you had to have a staple somewhere.
Right.
And that was my Scooby-Doo. That was my heartbeat of it.
Right. Nice. So talk about the artist for the interiors. Where did you find the artist, and how did you know this was the right person for the book?
So we went through several artists. Again, my editor helped me track down a lot. We interviewed a few, and we were going through different styles. One of the main things we wanted to do was make these colors pop, with that background and that, circus type theme. You wanted it to jump out at you. Right. So Brian and Gabe, they have such beautiful lines, and the colors are amazing. That was the reason. We saw Gabe's colors, and it was a definite. That was the direction we went. We were looking at, harder inks and a lot different of line sketches, but when we saw Brian's lines and Gabriel's inks with them, they just married and danced in a way that we had to say yes. And with this story, it was like I said, we just wanted it to pop. It's totally different from any other project that I have at the moment.
Right. So tell me about your connection with ink marketing.
With ink marketing, well, I did go out there, and I'm new. I don't know what I'm doing. So I went and researched a whole bunch of stuff. And whenever I came across ink marketing, it was just, they were putting the staple on the Kickstarter that I needed. It was like they were building that video for me. They were bringing in those beautiful tears for me, especially on PTSD. And at first, I thought I was just hiring a marketing, but it really felt like I was being invited into a family. They just seemed to have held my hand where I needed to be held.
Outstanding. So you have, this is pre-recorded. This airs Friday. So as of Friday, you'll have about 14 days to go for the campaign.
Right.
Currently at 22 backers. How are you getting, this is your second campaign. What did you learn from the first campaign that you applied to this campaign?
You're not going to sleep. You're going to be stressed. You're going to be stressed. The tiers are important. The connection's important. Updating your customers is important. And it's all worth it. I mean, connecting with your readers. Obviously, I haven't had that many readers of Booshie Boo because it's barely coming out, and it just got finished. It put into PDF form about 2 or 3 days ago, so I haven't had that full review kind of yet. But with PTSD, it was like I've been having so many of my readers come to me afterwards, and especially those that have served, and thank me for my story, and it's just amazing.
Outstanding. So, where can people find you if people have questions about your books? Or are your books, PTSD, are they going to be available to purchase after the campaign's over?
Definitely. And now, currently, PTSD has just got fulfilled. Like I said, I sent the last one out a couple of days ago, and I'm starting to hit conventions. I've got one in Abilene, and I've got a few coming up in January. The way I figured it, I had to have a plan in place, and one of those things is for me to go market it around my area before I start marketing it online.
Right.
I do want to start putting it online to sell, but I do want to give my community a kind of that personal touch first. So I expect PTSD to be online, available to sell in about 3 months. And if you want to find it, you can always go to my Facebook, my Instagram. You can call and message me, and we'll work out shipping you a copy if you really want it. And you could also get it on the Kickstarter with Booshie Boo. If you decide to buy Booshie Boo, PTSD is an added item right there. So there's that.
All right. So what conventions can people find you at? What's your tour schedule look like?
Well, currently I'm in Abilene next week. After that, I'm going to wait a while till Booshie Boo comes out and get it fulfilled. In January, I'm trying to hit the first 2 weeks, including the New Orleans Fan Expo. I haven't got guaranteed yet, but I'm waiting for that email to come back. I've got a Southeast Texas that I emailed just yesterday down in Texas. Then I'm taking the next week off to sign at local comic book stores, including Sanctuary. And then the last weekend of January is going to be the Cowtown Horror and Comic Fest. That's going to be Hearst, Texas. So I'm definitely going to be at that one. After that, I'm going to try to book as many as I can to show this great work art.
Outstanding. Again, so what are your social handles? So people want to find you on Instagram. What's your social handle on Twitter?
Oh, I'm bad with the media thing. I know it's 71. It's Paul Go. Let me see if I can find this. This is pre-recorded, right? You can edit this out.
There's no editing. This is it. No, it's all raw and uncut. So I'll put it in the links. Send it to me. I'll put it in the links when I post this video for Friday. We'll make it easy. But it's Paul Gomez on Facebook.
It's Paul Gomez on Facebook. I think it's 7198.
Right.
And then Instagram is again, it's Paul Gomez, and it's 7. I forget what the numbers are. I'm really bad at this. So I'm getting better. Like I said, I'm brand new at this.
Yes, I know.
I didn't expect any of this stuff, but I'm really getting better at it. I promise.
Outstanding. Well, congratulations on successfully funding 2 campaigns in a row. That's a major.
Congratulations for yours getting funded.
Well, thank you, sir. It seems like you approach this from a strategic and very wise strategy, and I think the utilization of the family. I think the outsourcing and editor, and I think you did all the right things, which most independents do wrong in the beginning.
Right. And if I can give one bit of advice to newcomers, it's like, put in that work. I say that I spent days, weeks, months on this script. I put my heart, soul, and blood and effort into them. Whenever I say that I don't want any cent to not be worth it if you spend it on my books, I mean it. And then that went for editing. That went for art. If you see what I'm at, cover pages, beautiful cover pages. Put in the work.
It pays off, and you're an example of that. So hats off to you. Congratulations on it. Much success, and I'm sure that we'll run into each other at conventions in Texas as I get settled.
I hope so.
Yes, as I get settled into Texas. I'm only on my 3rd month now out here, and but definitely I am planning my 2022 calendar for a lot of local events and
Right.
to get my face out here because they know me in New York, but they don't know me out here. So, so I'm sure we'll cross paths and.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, definitely. So thank you again for being on Catch the Craze, buddy. We will be we'll be talking soon.
Thank you so much.
You got it.
Have
And
a
you're
great
always
one.
welcome back. Whatever you got another book to promote, just hit us up.
Thank you.
You got it, buddy. Talk to you soon. All right, that was Paul Goldman. This was another episode of Catch the Craze podcast. This is your boy Sam flying solo because George is in the great state of California. I'm not going to say anything wrong about it, but a lot of crazy stuff happening out there. So that's Paul Gomez. Check it out. It's Booshie Boo Circus Mysteries #1 comic book. He's funded. Find out why. What's the mystery about in Booshie Boo? The art is good. The story looks great. The artist done a great job. The colorist, I mean, everybody who worked on this did a great job. Hats off to all of you. And if you want to be on Catch the Craze, all you have to do is go to crazycomics.com or icreatestories.com and go to the contact section and fill out the form, and we will get you on the show. But remember this. When you make contact with us, we're going to ask for the following. We need a press kit. We need a bio. We need a headshot. We need reference material. We need your social handles. So be prepared to have all that stuff when you reach out to us. And the best thing you can do when you reach out to Catch the Craze is say, hey, I subscribe to your YouTube channel. I dig your show. I love to be on it. Subscribe first. Put out that olive branch, right? So that we don't have to ask you, hey, have you subscribed, right? And we will do our best to spotlight you and what you do in your work. We appreciate every single one of you. Thank you again to everybody who supported Forbidden. I appreciate every single one of you. Looking forward to 2022, where we start off with There's Nailing on My Toilet, then Wonder Duck, then Catch the Crazies, then end the year off with Forbidden. With that said, I'm Sam, the Crazy Man Vera, and I'm out.
It's just easy. It's not.
Crazy. Acquiesce.
No, I was talking about my friend Acquiesce. I met him.
Say my name, right?
This is what you were thinking? Oh, my.
He described me. He said, I'm the
What? Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. To Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze on Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze.
Candy girl.